People love fantasy. It's a very popular genre. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. A lot of people really like the Game of Thrones series. Ever since the original Game of Thrones series has ended, there has been a big push by Hollywood for a new fantasy adventure franchise. Well, Hollywood does love IP, so why not go ahead and attempt to make another Dungeons and Dragons movie? There was one D&D movie that came out in the year 2000. I don't care to see it. Heard it was pretty bad. So how can Hollywood have a new take on this IP? How can it stand out from any other medieval fantasy action-adventure franchise? Well, you make it a comedy. Now, I have played D&D twice in my entire life, and I have to say, it is not for me. Maybe I will give it another chance someday, but who knows when that will be. I do have plenty of friends that enjoyed this role-playing game, and from what I have gathered, it's not just about fantasy and stuff like that. It's not just about dice rolling. It's just about having fun, getting to be in a character, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be serious. You could do a lot of creative and fun stuff in your sessions. Am I right? I need a D&D guy to comment below if I'm right. I've seen a couple clips of some YouTubers that play D&D, don't really know what's going on, but seems like they're having fun. So it makes sense to me that a fantasy adventure film like this that is based off of D&D should probably be a bit more lighthearted and a bit more fun, not so gloomy, not taking itself super seriously. When I saw the trailer, I was a bit worried. It didn't look that fun to me, but I should have known better, because I ended up enjoying this movie. This film is directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan M. Goldstein. They are the duo behind Game Night, which is a funny movie that I'd recommend. I think it's kind of ironic. Maybe it's just a really good coincidence that they directed a comedy about playing games and now they're directing another movie based off of playing games. These guys understand how to balance drama, action, and comedy pretty well together. That's a challenging task, especially for a new attempt at a franchise that has millions of fans. Part of the reason why I think that action, drama, and comedy blend so well together is because of the cast. They're all pretty enjoyable, and you could tell they're having a good time in the movie. Each character has a moment to shine, whether it is a comedy bit, or if it's an action scene, or if it's like an emotional moment. They also all have great chemistry together. I did learn recently that they did real life D&D sessions as their characters, so that is the kind of method acting that I support. Chris Pine has done comedy before. I think he really shines in this film. He does a lot of the comedy and he has a lot of emotional moments. Michelle Rodriguez has some funny moments. I don't think I've seen her do comedy before, but she's pretty good at it. She has a lot of action moments that she's really good at. There were plenty of bits that I thought were very funny. There were also plenty of Easter egg type of jokes that I did not get. A lot of the people behind me and some guy next to me, they understood it. They thought it was funny, so good for them. This movie gets to joke about how crazy these characters' worlds are and different types of creatures and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say it's ever insulting in any way. So the film is trying to please its fans, which from what I could gather from the people around me, sounds like they did a pretty good job. But it is also trying to please people like me that don't really understand Dungeons and Dragons. And because of that, there is a lot of exposition to explain basically rules about different races, about different creatures, about different settings, and it's a lot. Maybe this won't be as much of an issue for me whenever I go see this again, because I'll have a better understanding of how things work in this world and stuff like that. Or maybe it wouldn't work out so well. The movie is a little over 2 hours long, but since a lot is constantly being explained, it just kind of hurts the momentum that the movie's going for. I think if the script was a little bit tighter, I think the pacing would feel a lot quicker as well. I will say that even though I was ready for the movie to end at some point, once it got to the ending, I was kind of moved a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. So overall, even though there is a lot going on in the story, I think it works overall. I also need to give props to the makeup and to some of the practical effects that are used in this movie. When the movie does use green screen and CGI, it looks like it was probably rushed. It took me out a little bit at times when you can clearly tell that there's just somebody in front of a green screen. But there is a decent amount of practical effects and makeup and animatronics in this film. I wish the movie used a lot more of that. There is a dragon chase scene that I enjoyed quite a bit, and I get it is hard to do that with practical effects. I think they were trying their best to make it feel a little bit different from any other type of dragon in a fantasy movie, and I think they succeeded. Seems like that's where most of the budget went as far as effects go, because it does look pretty good. For somebody who has hardly ever played D&D, I gotta admit, this was better than I was expecting. I like the cast quite a lot, and I think the jokes are pretty funny. I enjoy the practical effects, I enjoy the animatronics, the makeup is cool at times. I wish there was just a lot more of that, because when the film tries to be big, sometimes it doesn't work, it just takes me out a little bit. If you're a D&D fan, I think you will get a kick out of this. A lot of the people that were in the theater I was in, they seem to enjoy it. Even if you don't play D&D, I still think you will enjoy this film. There were plenty of Easter eggs that obviously fans would have gotten. I didn't, but it doesn't take anything away from the movie. Sometimes it is used for new challenges for the characters. Other times it's just like a, hey, look at that. The film just does have a lot of exposition and explaining of rules, items, so many things that can hurt the pacing, and maybe that will turn off some people, but who knows? Maybe in a rewatch, it won't be such a big deal. Now, did this movie convince me to play D&D again? No, absolutely not. I'm sorry, still not interested. I will say I'm kind of impressed that this movie isn't really taking itself as a big market campaign towards D&D itself. I was thinking that they were going to take this in the direction of the Lego movie, which I love that movie quite a lot, but you can argue that it is just a big marketing campaign for Lego toys. So I was kind of impressed that they didn't go in that route. I think they could have paid it off pretty well if they did decide to go that way, but I like the way that they're taking this, and we'll see where it goes. Even if I am not interested to play D&D again, I am still curious and wanting to return to this world, so that's good. I mean, there's so much that you could do. I'm really curious what they'll do for a sequel if this movie succeeds. I was at Target a couple days ago and I saw a book that was like a prequel to the movie, and it was about Chris Pine's character. So like Paramount is definitely trying to find a new franchise. So fingers crossed this works for them. We got a pretty successfully entertaining and funny fantasy adventure movie. That's something you don't get quite often. So I say go to the movies and support that. I think you'll enjoy it. I think I'm gonna give Dungeons & Dragons a 3.5 out of 5. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching this. Did you see Dungeons & Dragons? Do you plan on seeing it? Do you play D&D? Are you a human? Are you a troll? If you like this, please like, share your thoughts, subscribe, do whatever you want. Make sure you exercise every day, drink your milk, and have a great day.